This is a podcast called 25 Whistles, talking football, and they all wear a whistle. Yeah, it's stupid, but what did you expect? It's a podcast called 25 Whistles. 25 Whistles.
Episode 2. And whoever blew the whistle, is that you, Eddie, last time?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Kevin, you can start us off. All right, let's go. 25 Whistles is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Make sure you download the DraftKings app and use the code BobbySports to get in the action. DraftKings Sportsbook, that's what you get. DraftKings Sportsbook, and use the code BobbySports to get in on the action. What up, everybody? Good?
Yeah.
Good. So here's what we'll do. We'll warm up with 2 questions. When I come to you, I want your height, your weight, and the town you were born in. Ready? All right. The question is, what is your favorite non-dirty body part to have massaged? Of all your body parts. It can't be a dirty part.
Whoa.
What's your favorite non-dirty part? I tell you why, because I got a massage yesterday.
Okay.
A friend of mine, there were 4 of us, me and my wife, and a buddy and his wife, and we were going to get a massage because the women wanted to get massages. First of all, the dudes backed out. We were like, we're good. I'm not a massage guy. I don't like massage. If I get injured, which happens a decent amount because I train probably harder than I should for no reason whatsoever, I will get like my leg worked on or my shoulder worked on. I don't like just going to get rubbed because I don't like it. I don't like the, it's greasy. They're lotioning. I don't like any of it. They either go too hard. I'm too embarrassed to tell them to go easier, or they're going too soft. And I just don't want to go, give it to me harder. It's a no-win for me in this situation. I just don't like it for the most part. Mm-hmm. So I go in now and they'll be like, what are the areas you'd like to have rubbed? And I know my areas now, and I will tell them, focus on this. And I always wear a watch. I need to know where I am in the massage too at all times. So the watch I have on now is glow in the dark as well. It's a nice watch.
That's not relaxing to know the time. Like, you got to just
I
enjoy
need
it.
to know the time everywhere I go all the time.
I know, but
I need to know the time. I need to know how much time is left. I need to know if I'm having a good time. I got to brace myself because it's about to be over. I need to know if I'm having a bad time, that it's going to be over in this many minutes.
Yep.
Like, that's me all the time. I always got to know time. I got to be places. And so my buddy goes, I don't want to get a massage. I don't like massages. I'm like, thank God. And so we cancel it. We cancel our part of it. We're supposed to do it like 3 p.m. So we cancel our half of it. And so we go and we're doing some shooting, some clay pigeon shooting. And I don't know. I think my buddy was kicking him a little too hard. And he's like, oh, I guess I could go get my neck done. He tells my wife, could you get us back in that massage? And I'm like, no! And so we go, and he's really nervous. He has crazy anxiety. He gets in his own head about massages. And so he texts like 1 minute before the massage. He goes, I don't think I can do this. And I'm putting my phone up in the locker right in this house. I don't want to have to talk him down. I don't give a crap. I'm just going to go and get it over with. And so I can hear him in the room next to me talking to the person the whole time. So I'm trying to get relaxed. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get to it. I wish they would have let you pick the Pandora, iHeart channel, Spotify channel of like an artist. I could go, I'll take John Mayer. And they play all the songs that are like John Mayer. But they don't. It's always like Enya with an extra flute.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should let you
So
choose
just
your
let
own
me
music.
pick my John. I'm not going to pick every song. I don't need an aux cord. Just let me pick my dentist. Well, let me pick the music. I go in. He's like, what kind of music would you like? So
Really?
He has Pandora. Maybe switch to iHeart now because he knows I come in. I'm not sure. But I'll pick one artist and they do the whole station of it. So I'll go in and go like John Mayer or Casey Musgraves or Coldplay. And I go Coldplay, but no anthem songs.
oh yeah,
No
you don't want
electric.
that. Yeah.
I want sad Coldplay.
No, Viva la vida.
Rush of blood to the head or nothing. The dentist does that. And so, but they don't do this at any massage place that I've been to. That's fine. I go in. I'm nervous I have pimples on my back. I'm already embarrassed I have moles on my back. And so I'm like, great. I get the massage. I tell her to rub the parts that I like rub the most. I don't even flip over anymore. I go, don't flip me over. Because that never feels good. Yeah. I don't like it when they're up top of my chest. I don't like it. I don't know what they think feels good about that, but it doesn't. Nothing. I don't like any of it. One time, a lady kissed me on my forehead when it was over.
That's crazy.
Most bizarre thing I've ever been into. Yeah. And so I go in, I get done, I walk out, and I'm like, okay, that felt pretty good because I just stayed on my parts that I liked. And so my buddy comes out, and I was like, how'd it go? He goes, well, it was better than I thought it was going to be. I was like, well, he thought it was gonna be terrible, and he goes, well, it was only pretty bad. And I was like, good for you, growth. Right? Like that's good growth. But I heard him talking the whole time. He'd be like, yeah, so my neck hurts. I can hear him through the wall because his voice is so deep. And so I came out and I was like, I wonder what body part the guys like to have rubbed. So that's the question. Favorite, and don't, I have to say
What?
non-dirty. I'm not going to say it anymore.
Yeah,
I just
we
don't
know.
need somebody to go,
Well, there.
my inner thigh.
We
I don't
know.
need that.
We
my
know.
wiener.
Go a little higher.
Yeah. Non-dirty body part. I'll go first. All right. Bobby Bones, 6'1.5". I'm not going to go full 6'1". Got on pretty short shoes today. 6'1.5", 170, born in Hot Springs, Arkansas. My favorite, my hands and my feet. The very outsides of me.
The worst.
My hands and my feet. I spend all day there. And I can't tell them that because I would. But I'll go, what parts do you like? I like, I like my hamstrings and my calves. You can do my neck a little bit. But if you really focus on the hands and the feet, and then I'll throw in and scratch my head.
Yeah, a little head scratch.
But that's it for me. Adam Hambrick.
Adam Hambrick, 5'11" and a quarter, $170, straight out of Corinth, Mississippi. And man, I've got 2 massages in my life. The surprise was always how much I enjoyed my forearms.
But your wife though can do it too. It's any part from anybody.
Okay, that's fair. No, I'm just gonna stick with the two professional massages because that seems most appropriate to the conversation. I'm gonna go forearms because I didn't expect to like that, but
That's bizarre.
after I know
weird.
it's
Bizarre.
weird, but I was like thinking about because I'm ticklish. So when they start working on my back, I'm like, am I gonna like crawl out of my own skin? And I was like, no, that wasn't bad. And then they worked through, but then they got to my forearms, and like I guess I just like walk around with my fists clenched all day or something. Because like when she got done with my forearms, I felt like a new man.
It always looks like that meme where he's holding his fist to the sky. All right, kick off, Kevin. You?
All right, 6'2", or well, we're being honest today, right? So
Yeah.
6'1.5", with 6'2" with shoes on, so we'll call it 6'2". And about 210, 215 fluctuate.
Bragger.
And I
He's
think-
bragging.
Strong.
Fluctuate.
Strong.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to think of where I was born, to be honest with you. I don't know for
What?
sure. I think it's Chino, California. I think it was Chino. And then massage, it's for sure the back. All about the back. Every time I go in there, hey, just stay on the back. Don't a little neck, little shoulders here and there. But other than that, can't do the feet, can't do the hands, none of that.
Eddie?
It's generic. Yeah, producer Eddie. I'm 6 foot, 180. Definitely on the high side of 180 there.
Low side of 6'2".
But I'm gonna say that the scalp rub is where it's at.
That's a good one.
Like when you get that scalp rub, like a deep rub in the scalp, I'm like, dude, I start shaking like a dog. I'm like,
You start kicking? Yeah. That's
I
what
start
Stanley
doing
does.
that.
Mike D, last one.
Mike D, Waxahachie, Texas, 175-ish, 5'8". I would have to go the feet. I've never had a professional massage, but my wife will massage my feet from time to time.
You've
'cause
never had a professional massage?
Never.
Would you accept one?
No, I don't think I would.
No, I think you have to accept one.
Yeah.
I think I have to, and I'll pay for it. I would like to send Mike to a masseuse and then have him report back on this show.
Yes.
Oh, it's like
Gotta
my
have it.
nightmare.
It is. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I don't like it either because I'm always embarrassed of my body. That's what it is for me. I think I could. Like, you're a hairy guy too, Mike, right?
Oh, yeah, chest hair out like crazy.
But I imagine, like when I had my butthole ripped, and they had
What?
when I ripped my butthole on the Peloton. You know this.
Yes, but you just say it like it's no big deal.
Well, I had to go. They've had to have seen every kind of butthole, right? They've seen them big, small. They've seen them shaped. They've seen them probably squared. They've seen every possible butthole.
I have not
And
heard
so
this story.
I go in and I have to tell myself that they've seen it all, bud. I'm telling myself that. Call myself bud.
Bud.
I said they've seen it all, bud. So go in and have a good time. And so I go in and I bend over and they do it. You know, they don't make a big deal about it. She doesn't. What if she did? She was like, wow.
Oh man, never
Oh,
seen that
golly.
before. That's a weird one.
Like, this is the 1%. So, Mike, I bet you that is what it would be like. Like they've seen all the buttholes, Mike. So they've
All
seen
right.
everybody. Would you? I'm not gonna make you do it, but would you do it?
For the experience, because I've never done it, I would do it.
Okay. Now, is it one of those things though where it's full on Harry and the Hendersons, where if they go into your back?
Oh, yeah, everywhere.
Nice.
Ugh.
All right. So favorite body part though is what again? Your
The feet.
okay. And then okay. Is that everybody?
Yeah, that's us.
All right. Quick answer though. Second question: best game environment you've ever been to that's not your own. Quick answer. So you go to a game. You could even go to watch your team, but it's somewhere else. It's always hard to say, but mine's probably Alabama. They have a really great before the games. They play Sweet Home Alabama. All the statues the players walk through. It's pretty cool. Don't quote this. I'll never admit to it. Eddie.
I'm gonna say my kids' sports. Man,
Is that not your own?
No, it's not. I mean, they're not my teams. I don't care about them. Like their team, I care about my kids, but I don't care about my kids' teams. So when I go there, like game day, getting them pumped, because I'm like their coach. That's not the coach. I'm like, come on, boys. Like I give them like incentives of just like, hey.
Sorry, you cheated on the question, and you'll now be penalized by not being on the show for 2 minutes. All right, penalty box.
Dang.
Yeah, penalty. That's your own kids. That's closer than the Razorbacks. So 2 minutes, no Eddie.
All right.
Kickoff Kevin.
I went to the Rose Bowl, Wisconsin and Oregon back in 2013, I believe, when they had Russell Wilson in Wisconsin, DeAnthony Thomas, Oregon. That was by far the best environment.
Adam Hambrick.
The first ball game I ever went to was Arkansas LSU. Oh, sorry, we said no home games. Alabama.
Hambrick, you listen to the question.
Oh, man.
2 minutes.
It's
Yeah, penalty box, and we don't get your answer. All right, Mike D.
I saw Cubs and White Sox at Guaranteed Rate Field. Amazing.
And you don't care about either one of the teams.
Don't care about either of them. I just love Chicago.
Yeah, and that's not even Wrigley. Yeah, that's cool. All right, there you go. Eddie and Hambrick are in the penalty box. It's now time for the worst name segment of all time. By the worst name person of all time, it's Kickoff Kevin's 5-question tittle tattle. All right, Kevin, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, question number 1.
All right. The biggest news story of the year has finally been resolved. Deshaun Watson, quarterback for the Browns, him and the NFL and the NFLPA reached an agreement on an 11-game suspension with $5 million fine. Bobby, do you think this was justified? Was it enough?
You guys can blow your whistle too, by the way. You're back in, Eddie.
Oh, we're back?
You're back.
Woo.
2-minute penalty box.
Thank you.
People weren't going to be happy regardless. This is a situation that nobody was going to be happy. Deshaun Watson is not a good dude. I mean, there are a lot of things you can draw from this. I was listening to the owner of the Browns talk today, and they were like, "Hey, would you do it again?" He's like, "Yeah, 100%. I'd do it again. I'd sign him again." It's going to be tough for that franchise because even when Deshaun Watson went out in the preseason game, they booed the crap out of him. I think in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get booed everywhere. It's going to be like the Houston Astros after they got caught cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They lucked out, though, because after COVID was the first year after, so they got booed, but it's like 1/10 stadium.
Yeah.
But it's going to be that sort of feeling toward Deshaun Watson. I think if they would have suspended him the whole season, I'd have been like, that ain't enough. I don't think it could have met an expectation because what he allegedly did, boy, there's just so much. It's hard to think that he did. He's just a bad dude. So I'm going to go with, I'm glad that it's over. He has his 11 games, his $5 million. It's not going to bother him one bit. They were expecting a whole season.
Yeah.
I personally would have liked to have seen it be more, but I'd rather not see it dragged out anymore because obviously they got the first judgment and then they appealed. And Goodell used like his boy to that second appeal. He was going to do whatever Goodell wanted because the NFL does business with them. So it is over, thankfully. I hope these women get what they deserve because they did not deserve what happened to them allegedly. And let's I don't know. Hopefully he grows from it, becomes a better person.
Question: do I have to blow my whistle if I want to add something but not disagree with
That's
you?
interesting. I'm gonna go. You have to clap 3 times.
Oh,
yeah, and do the hokey pokey.
okay.
What would you like to say?
1, 2, 3, hokey pokey. So I watched the press conference too.
Did you hear him say? Did you see him apologize?
Oh yeah. Who? Deshaun?
Well, so I have audio too. Go
Oh
ahead.
no,
Go
I
ahead.
was watching the owners talk, and it was interesting the angle that they were sticking to, which was, I want to support him, and he's shown that he's committed to change and do therapy and all that. But what I want to ask
committed
you,
to
Bones,
change. So they're saying he needs to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, like, at what point when you do a press conference like that, do you think you should just be like, all right, we want to win. Like, obviously that's kind of our priority. But they never said that. It was all,
can't.
I know that, but it was all about, we support him as a human and we want to be there for him. So that's why we're sticking behind him.
That's what they have to say. So they can have a shot to win. They can't go out and go, listen, we just want to win, so we signed a dirtbag.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's the truth.
They can't. Everyone knows that. Even they know that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they can't say it, so they go, we want to try to make him a better human. So are you saying he was a bad human? So yes, they are. But here's Deshaun Watson saying at some point he'll try to tell his side of the story.
I feel like through this whole process, we've been trying to tell my side of the story, but a lot of people didn't really pay too much attention to it. But one day we will. Only time will tell. And, like I said before, just continue to keep being the person I am, keep showing the community how good of a human being I am. I have always been, how I was raised, and I just want to continue to show that and, keep pushing forward.
Yeah, I hope he does get better.
Yeah.
I hope he
sure.
does grow, and what has been done has been done. So all you can really hope for now is absolute growth and something better coming from a situation that seems to be freaking awful. So, but yes, they want to win. The Browns suck. They want to win.
Yeah.
They lost they sent away their quarterback that won them their only playoff game since Columbus. So it's a bad situation. I feel bad for Browns fans. Imagine you're just a good, solid Browns fan,
Yeah.
and you've sat there with them, and now you got to be like, I root for the Browns. Oh, the dude that liked to whack off on massage.
That's tough.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And so they have nothing to do with that. They're the Haslams. Hey, that's your boys. They signed them. It's bad all the way around. It reminds me, not the same, but just the feeling of when I felt bad for fans was Sandusky, Penn State, Joe Paterno, where awful. But there are a lot of Penn State fans that have nothing to do with that. That are passionate Penn State fans that have always been there for their team, good and bad. And now they were associated and still are associated because they ruined people's image of what Penn State was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I feel bad for Browns fans. One, they've just sucked for a long time, and I know that feeling. All my teams suck for most of the time. And so I feel bad for Browns fans.
They've sucked for a long time, but also they have a great roster right now, and so like you feel bad for them to like be not really have a shot to do anything with it.
They get a real number one receiver.
Yeah.
They get I mean, the answer is to your question, I don't know. I'm just glad I'm glad
It's a
that part's
lose-lose.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, number 2.
All right, you just spoke of him. Baker Mayfield is battling Sam Darnold out in Carolina for the QB1 spot. Who do you think will be there week 1 when they play the Browns?
Well, it has to be Baker, one for TV reasons.
Right.
Because you can't, even if it's Sam, if it's close, it's not close, but let's just say it's close. And you're like, all right, it's Baker or Sam. You don't think the network is like, yo, ain't nobody watching this game because you got a backup quarterback in Cleveland, unless they go and get Garoppolo. You got a backup quarterback in Cleveland. Even then, Garoppolo, who cares? Versus Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to watch this. I mean, more people watch a snake in the grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, good. They should.
Yeah, I
should.
agree.
They
That's
should.
right.
And so it has to be Baker for that reason alone. But Baker is way higher upside. The ceiling is way higher with Baker Mayfield. And again, I'll say it. I'm a Baker supporter because when he was healthy, he won. He was not healthy last year.
Yeah.
He played and he fought through. He probably shouldn't have because I think that's hurt him in the eye. He may not be the best teammate. I don't know what it's like in the locker room. I don't know. But I think Baker Mayfield gives you a much higher ceiling than Sam Darnold because we've seen Sam Darnold with the Jets and Carolina, and he has not been able to do that. Sam Darnold does not excite me. Baker Mayfield does, at least. But I like Baker. I'm a Baker guy.
Yeah.
So I'll go Baker. All right, next up.
All right, Lamar Jackson said he will cut off contract talks by week 1 of the regular season. If you were the GM of the Ravens, would you be doing everything you can right now to try to get him signed or just wait till next offseason?
I'll go to Adam on this one first. Adam, what do you think about Lamar Jackson?
Man, Lamar Jackson is the second most exciting player to watch in the NFL to me, behind Patrick Mahomes. I love watching him do what he does. He's been the most exciting thing for the Ravens last few years. I'm not a salary cap guy. I don't follow like all the contract negotiations and all that stuff, but man, it would be a shame to see him walk away from the Ravens.
All these quarterbacks are making so much money, and I tell you what, if I were an owner, I'd be so pissed at the Haslams because regardless of what Deshaun Watson did do or didn't do, they gave him so much guaranteed money. No quarterback contract with any quarterback that has leverage from now until the end of time will be without so much guaranteed money that it makes a team it's an uncomfortable contract now in an area where contracts were already uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They gave Deshaun Watson so much money guaranteed, more than in ever. And they did a lot of it too on the back end, so he would make sure to not be penalized
Yep.
if his money taken away.
Yep.
So, okay, so let's say you give Lamar Jackson this absurd deal. And you go, you're a guy, Lamar, we're going to give you $1 gajillion. Let's just say it's $1 gajillion. And it's all guaranteed. I think it's a good move because if you don't, in 2 years, in 6 years, in 8 years, these deals aren't going south.
Mm-hmm.
Sign people as quick as you can sign them. And if you think that's your guy, pay him all you have to pay him, because if you don't, you have to pay him or somebody else that's your guy a lot more, or you got to draft a rookie and hope that works out for you. Yep. So I'm not a huge Lamar Jackson guy. I like Lamar Jackson. I hate playing him in fantasy because he always ends up rushing for 80 and throwing 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were the Ravens, I would just give him the whole deal, because if you're going to anyway, do it now.
Yeah.
Do it now and go, let's go. Yeah. Because if he finishes this season, he's his own agent.
Yeah.
If he finishes this season and he's MVP, he's top 3 MVP, has a great year, they go deep in the playoffs, you think he's expensive now?
He's going to be even more expensive.
And he's going to have leverage to go wherever he wants.
He doesn't have an agent?
He's his agent.
Him and his mom.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Huh?
That's baller.
That's a lot of money to keep in your pocket.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they don't have consultant and people and lawyers.
Sure.
But he's his own agent.
That's cool.
It's crazy.
I didn't know that.
And the difference would be, I have an agent. Anything I do,
You're looking at him.
They get 10%.
Producer ready.
Now, once your deals get to this level, it's not 10% anymore.
Yeah.
It's 3. It's 4. You also negotiate with your agent what they're going to actually take from you. But that's still a significant amount of money over the time of a contract like this. But you can also, what I do is I will hire attorneys to negotiate things and pay them hourly if I think that it's not even going to get close to what I would pay them if they wanted a percentage. So that, my assumption is what they do. Because they don't know the legalese. I'm assuming, let me just assume, because I don't. I shouldn't put that on them. But I assume a normal person that hasn't gone to law school doesn't know all the legalese.
Is his mom in the biz, or is she just mom?
I don't know. You may.
I
think
she's mom.
Yeah, I think she's just like awesome.
Yeah.
That's
She's
crazy.
got time on her hands, and she's like, "I'll help you out."
Like, my mom's smart and cool and all, but like, she wouldn't be my agent.
If he's your guy, go ahead and make him your guy right now and pay him. All right, next one up, Kevin.
All right, the AP poll came out this week, and there were some big names left off, and they include Texas, Florida State, LSU, and Florida. So my question to you is, do any of these find themselves ranked at the end of the season? And if so, who's going to be ranked the highest?
Well, let's do this. Let's go around the room then. Who do you think of the unranked teams that he mentioned will be ranked the highest at the end of the year? And what are the teams you mentioned
Can we
again?
say them again?
Yeah, Texas, Florida State, LSU, and Florida.
I don't think it's LSU. I think they will be good again. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's LSU this year. And I think they'll surprise a couple people. Dear God, don't let it be Arkansas. Probably, I hate to say it, but it's probably going to be Texas. I do. I think Texas is going to be pretty good. They got him a quarterback, we think. Texas is just strong all the way through, the 1s and 2s. I know they disappoint every year. But I'm going to go Texas. Adam?
Man, it's gonna be tough for me not to say Florida. I don't know. I just I like what they I like what they are looking at in the East more than I like what Texas is looking at in the Big 12.
Florida's got the whole roster from their coaches from Louisiana.
Yeah, Billy Napier.
Yeah,
Tech.
That's it.
Right.
He took that. Wait,
Yeah.
it was like, okay, let me get my transfer guys. He took a couple of his old guys.
Yeah.
No, isn't he
Off
from
a really good
Isn't he
team.
from Louisiana?
Yeah, Louisiana.
Is that
Like
what it
not
is?
Tech.
Okay.
I think he's just from Louisiana.
Okay.
But because they won big, they were ranked for some of the season last year.
Yeah.
But you're gonna go Florida.
I'm gonna go Florida. I like the road in the East. I just think they're going to show up. They have talent. I don't think it's going to be Florida State. LSU's in the West, and Texas. I just can't bring myself to put any faith in Texas.
Eddie?
Yeah, I have no idea, so I'm just gonna go Florida State. Like, why not?
Hey, ACC dude, they suck. yeah. Who cares? Yeah, just for that. I mean, if Adam's going SC East, you go ACC. That's
Right,
the whole.
let's go.
That's everything.
Coin flip.
And all right, finally, go ahead, Kevin.
The final question?
Yeah.
Okay, sticking in college football here, despite playing or never playing it down after signing an NIL deal, LSU quarterback Miles Brennan will be able to keep all of his earnings after choosing to retire from football this week. So, Bobby, could you see this starting a new trend of companies that are signing these kids to, put some verbiage in there that ensures that their investment is carried out by these athletes?
So I will speak to this as someone who has done multiple NIL deals with athletes, probably 10. I don't do them for 4 years. I don't sign an athlete for any longer than, we can say, a year if we'd like, because if that's what you're like, I'm going to give this kid an NIL deal to help me represent my business, also help the program. Like, you don't know if they're going to leave after their sophomore year, if they redshirt. You know, I think the baller players will have the leverage to go, I'm going to go where I get a guaranteed 4-year NIL. And if you're not a baller player, let's say you're a good 3-star, even a 4-star, you can probably get a good yearly NIL. I just think the bigger players will get to demand the longer, you don't want to call it a contract. It is a contract, but it's a different kind of contract. But they will, in my opinion, they will be regulating these in the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. All of these questions on, because here's the truth too. You could basically, I just had a call with I called the University of Iowa. I was talking to them about a kid who was on our show, or the radio show. I was like, hey, we saw him in the news. Want to do an NIL deal with him because he represents my clothing brand does. Now, I have no tie to the University of Iowa, but I thought what the kid did, he stopped on the side of the road. He helped a woman. He made the news. He's a freshman. He's not even going to play except special teams. Mm-hmm. I said, I want to do this deal with him. And they were like, great. And I could have said, I think I'll give him $5 million. And I just need one post on Instagram. And they'd have been like, all right, there you go. That's not an Iowa thing. I think just basically you can go, here's a bunch of money, and just say whatever, little or big, and there's no rules. Mm-hmm. So I can see this being a conversation with athletes now because of this, and being used like, hey, I can't give you a 4-year deal. One, you're a 3-star athlete. You're a 4-star athlete. I can give you a 1-year deal because look what happened with Miles Brennan. Yeah. I think this will be that point until it's all reset anyway. But the NILs, it's awesome right now because there are no rules. Yeah. Not for me. I'm not saying it's an NIL doer. I'm saying that now as somebody who just loves college football. Yeah. People are all upset about it, but any change at all always makes people upset in anything that's known because of their tradition. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening here. All right. Thank you for the tittle tattle, Kevin. All right. There you go. Hey, we have Dan Orlovsky coming up in a second. He's awesome. ESPN NFL analyst. We got to thank Kickoff Kevin for roping that one. Kickoff Kevin chased Dan Orlovsky.
How? What do you mean chased him?
Well, I went to his house.
Oh, yeah, like that.
No, he got his number somehow, and then Dan was always great, but Dan works for ESPN, and speaking to somebody who works in a big corporation, he had to go, let me go to my PR. Then they were like, he's got to cancel, and Kevin just stayed on it. That's
awesome, man.
Voila. Yeah. Dan Orlovsky. So here we go. By the way, fun facts about Dan Orlovsky: 12 seasons in the NFL as a quarterback. He's been with ESPN as an analyst since 2018. He played at UConn and then went to the NFL for a long time, but never, as an NFL player, was never a superstar player, but is one of those guys that was extremely smart and has turned that into, he's one of the best now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, he's really popping as far as like one of the guys you want to go to. So here he is, Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. Hey, Dan, appreciate the time.
Good to be with you, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
Where are you? Wherever you are, it's like a beautiful Norman Rockwell picture right now. Where are you?
Yeah. So we're in a beach town called Seattle City, New Jersey. My wife's from the Philadelphia area, so she grew up kind of going down here. So we go here every summer.
Dude, is life for you just awesome? I mean, obviously you play in the league, but now it's like you're blowing up bigger than ever before, and it looks like you're just doing something that you love more than you ever have.
Yeah, it's been a really fun, 3 or 4 years. I have an absolute blast doing kind of what I get to do. It's become like a joy of mine, It's become very much so a passion. It fits my personality too really well. I remember being a kid and everyone used to always like mock me, being like, dude, you like being the center of attention. You like being the center of attention. I think that's why I gravitated towards playing quarterback. It's certainly something that kind of fits the role that I get to do now.
Are you ever surprised by what actually goes viral? Like, are you like, I can't believe that of all things is the thing that's being picked up and going viral?
In the football world, like the stuff that I get to be a part of?
Yeah, just like you. Oh, you're not, when you say it?
Yeah, I know. I think that I've been lucky. The people at ESPN are smart with how I never got any formal training. But one of the best things that I ever got told when I got into this media world and industry was, give me the takeoff before the runway, and it's so often many of us get on television and you get asked this question and you give out all the reasons why you feel a certain way. And then you say how you feel. And I think one of the things that I've learned is attention spans for everybody nowadays are short. So you better throw a punch quickly. And it's also one of those things. I think a lot of people get into our world and say, you believe you got to say something. I don't believe that. I think that's how you get yourself in trouble and you get caught in your own words. I think you got to be convicted about what you say and you can't be scared to be wrong. And so I don't get surprised. And I also know football is just an absolute passion of people's lives. And they can't get enough of it. So I don't get surprised anymore. It's fun.
I do want to spend this time we have together talking about quarterbacks and only quarterbacks because, again, this is basically the biggest part of any NFL team. And there's so many stories going into the season. And we can start with Matt Stafford, who, is dealing with the tendonitis or whatever it is that we're reading he's going through. Like, what do you know about Stafford's status and how it's, affecting them as they try to repeat?
Yeah, I can say this. Usually Matthew and I go on a golf trip every year after the Super Bowl gets done. And he did not come this year, mainly because he was busy playing in it, but also, the elbow, he had said he was going to have something to get done with it. I probably talked to him like a week ago and he was like looking forward to the golf trip next year. So, I take that as everything's going to be fine with the elbow. I try to avoid kind of getting too deep with him when it comes to that stuff because the respect of the friendship, but I think it's one of those things that he'll be really smart about. The Rams will be really smart about it, and they'll be smart about it leading into the season and through it. I think that they're the best team in the NFC. I think they're the team that everyone's got to go chase down to go win the Super Bowl. And the addition of a player like Allen Robinson is going to completely make their offense even more different. Last year was really cool to watch, to be honest with you too, just as a guy who watched him. Bobby, I'll tell you this, man, like my favorite part about him as a person was for years, a decade, dozen years, that dude had every reason to point the finger at somebody else, to blame somebody else, to drag somebody else down. And he never did it once. And I think that's my favorite quality of him. And I think watching him do what he did last year, that's what made it so nice.
When I've read any articles about his injury, and again, it's just reading articles, it's a tendonitis is brought up a lot. Is that something that had it happen to you? Is that something you have to manage all year? Like I got tendonitis in my shoulder and I was doing a TV show and it hurt me for 4 months because I never had time to recuperate. I was doing a physical show. Is that a pain management and managing thing for all season?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be something like he doesn't throw on Mondays. He doesn't throw on Tuesdays. He probably doesn't throw much on Wednesdays and just rehabs it, takes care of it, works through it, probably throws Thursday and Friday pretty good. And kind of you manage your way through it. And not only the week, but you manage your way through the season. You might be a little bit light on the reps that he takes in September and October, knowing November and December, you're a good enough team that you should get into the playoffs and then will be paramount for your seeding, your performance. So yeah, you just got to manage it and it'll be important for everything. The rehab, the prehab, the post practice care of it. And he's really, really, really premier with that stuff, man. Like he takes care of himself at a really high level. So it's stuff you got to pay attention to it. You got to respect it, but I don't think it's going to hold him back.
Let's talk about Justin Fields for a second, because when the Bears, when they hired a new coach, I guess I expected them to hire an offensive coach, and they did not as a head coach. And they've got Justin Fields, who this is a big year for him as far as development goes. Do you expect them to take a step forward with Fields, or is it the same Bears?
Yeah, I think it's a step back, candidly. I don't think it's a year for Justin Fields in his development, Bobby. So they have the worst situation for a quarterback in the NFL. And my biggest issue and fear often is taking these young players at that position and putting them into the role where you expect development and winning. That's so hard to happen at the same time, because development at the quarterback level from college to pro means you often have to break bad habits while building new good habits that are going to be required in the NFL world. That takes thousands and thousands and thousands of reps. And then when you have the pressure of, hey, dude, you got to win us a game on Sunday because our jobs are dependent on it, you revert towards those bad habits. And not only that, I often say at that spot, like, don't expect progress without equipping me with the necessary tools. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. And I'm going to say this, in probably the last 10 years, their number one receiver is a 5th-round pick, Darnell Mooney. Good player, but he's not a number one in the NFL right now. So I think it's going to be a really difficult year for Justin. And my hope and prayer is that no one judges him till 2023 when they're a little bit more supportive around him.
Talking about quarterbacks and receivers, kind of the same question about these two guys whenever it comes to Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes, and they both lost their number ones, and so they're both trying to figure out who's their new number one. Like in Green Bay and in Kansas City, like who do you see stepping up, or who do the quarterbacks want to step up and be their number one?
Yeah. So my answer is interesting. I think the number one in Kansas City will be their offensive line. I think they're just going to be different with the way they operate. You know, this will be the best offensive line, or one of certainly in the NFL. I think they'll be a little bit more run centric. They'll call a little bit more drop back pass for Patrick and just give him multiple options rather than, hey, we're going to try to get the ball to Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. And they've got really 6 deep with guys they can get the ball to. I don't know if they'll have a number one. I think their number one will revolve week by week by week. And then in Green Bay, yeah, I think the number one that they hope for it to be is going to be Allen Lazard and Christian Watson, their second-round pick out of North Dakota State this year. That's the situation for me, I think, is Green Bay is looking at the 2019 San Francisco 49ers. Dominated on the ground, played great defense, and they needed a quarterback to make one throw in the playoffs, and he couldn't. That's the post route, Jimmy G to Emmanuel Sanders, that he misses. And I think the Packers are going to go, that's the way that we want to play football, and we have the quarterback that will make that throw. So I think the guy in Green Bay is Allen Lazard. It's just going to look different.
Lamar Jackson, you know, there's obviously the contract situation. What's he going to do this year especially? Like, you feel like this is a year for Lamar. Do you feel like he's ready for a big year? Is this setting him up for it?
Yeah. If I don't gamble really. If I had $2,000 to throw down a long shot MVP guy, it'd be Lamar. Bobby, last year, 12 weeks through the season, this was the MVP of the league. They were the number one seed in the AFC, and they had the worst historic injuries in the history of the NFL. That's how good this young man is. So I think the thought for Lamar is, and that's why the contract's going down right now, is like, why would I sign for what I don't want? If we stay healthy, I'm going to have an incredible year. We're going to be a really good football team. We have the chance to go to the Super Bowl, and then you got to pay me whatever dollar amount that I want. You know, everyone says this like, hey, man, Lamar should not play this season without taking his money, because we all fear these catastrophic injuries to quarterbacks. Dak Prescott became the highest paid quarterback ever the offseason after he dislocated his ankle and tore every ligament in it. Aaron Rodgers got a $140 million contract extension when he played 6 games one season. And Drew Brees got $70 million from the Saints coming off of reconstructive shoulder surgery. Quarterbacks are paid for their body of work, not for what you've done for me lately performance-wise. So I think he's going to have a monster year, and I think he's going to get a lot of money, and he's worth it.
We got 3 questions. I want to go to Derek Carr, who not only has Hunter Renfrow, obviously, who had a big year last year, but also Devontae, who I'm watching all the practice. I'm seeing what they want me to see, obviously, but he's just destroying. Like, do we expect the Raiders to be a lot better with the addition of Devontae?
Offensively, they'll be a top 6 offense in the league. Team-wise, I don't know, dude, because their secondary is still so unproven. And I got to see the way Josh McDaniels coaches, and obviously their division is brutal. They'll be one of the most difficult offenses in the league to stop. I do not think it's as easy as a lot of us are making it out to be. It's hard when you have, 3, Darren Waller is one of the best. Hunter Renfrow, one of the best. Devontae Adams, one of the best. So how do we use those guys to make sure everybody's playing to their strengths? When I was playing with Calvin Johnson, it was one of those things where Calvin wanted to be on the side of the field by himself. Just put Calvin over there and we'll figure everything else out. I don't know if Devontae wants that, because in Green Bay, they moved him around a lot. So I do believe that they have to work through that, but they'll be a really, really dominant offense.
Russ in Denver, is this set up for him to have a reset and a big rebound with that team, or are we getting a little hyped up for it?
No, I think so. That's my team to win. That's my pick to win the division. That's been my pick since they made the signing of Randy Gregory. I think it's the only offense in the division that can do whatever they want, given whatever they need to. When I say that, I mean, if they have to run the football for 40 times a game, they have the people and the scheme to do it. No one else in the division has that. If they got to throw the ball 40 times, they have the people and the scheme to do it. And other teams in the division have that, but they don't have both. I think their edge rushers will be really good, and Surtain Jr. on defense is great. Here's the thing with Russ. Russ in Seattle has been in a place where he's never had an elite offensive scheme, which he has now, in that Mike Shanahan scheme, and elite offensive talent, which he has now with all their weapons on the outside receiver-wise. So That's my pick to win the division. And I think Russ has an MVP caliber season.
And we'll end with the Cowboys. We got a guy on this show who, and I guess all Cowboys fans are annoying. It's not like our annoying Cowboys
Brutal.
fan,
It's
but yes,
brutal,
it's brutal.
man.
It is. And
It's
I was going to say
stinking brutal,
he's an
dude.
annoying Cowboys fan, but that's like saying he.
Water's wet.
Yes. Yeah. So with Dak and Zeke, what are we doing? What's happening?
Yeah, so I think that Zeke is still a good back, not a great back. Their offensive line is still very subpar. They got old really fast. Their perimeter weapons are a major question mark. CeeDee Lamb, while ultra talented, is third in the NFL in drops in the last 3 years. That's not good. And I think that like the Cowboys are in a place where they have these massive expectations, and their defense was so great last year that people are saying, hey, this is the team to beat the Bucs or the Rams or the Saints. And I just sit here and I go, no, it's not. I don't even think they're going to win the division. The Eagles are better on both sides of the line of scrimmage. They got better weapons. They're deeper as a roster. The difference is Dak Prescott has proven and Jalen Hurts isn't. But I think the Cowboys are in for a dose of like, whoa, our roster is not nearly as good and or deep as what we thought.
I enjoy that answer. I enjoy that answer a lot. Yeah. Dan, appreciate you. Big fan of what you do. Love how refreshing it feels when you're talking. I feel like you're just talking to me, and I think that's the biggest compliment I could give you. Just, dude, crushing it. Love to see your success. And thumbs up or thumbs down on Tua. Last one.
Thumbs up, man. Tua's going to have a really good season.
I agree. I love it. All right, there he is. Dan, appreciate your time. Go enjoy the weather. It's like 110 here, so I will not, but hopefully I see you soon.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
See you, buddy. To Dan Orlovsky from ESPN. That's a great interview. Kickoff Kevin, great job on that one, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, DraftKings Sportsbook right now. Let me tell you, go and put in the code Bobby Sports. Here's the question. I looked on DraftKings because I've been watching Hard Knocks, and I believe any team on Hard Knocks is going to win the Super Bowl. I do. I just watch it. I'm like, oh yeah.
This is the year.
There you go. Yeah, they're going to do it,
ridiculous.
baby. And they're probably not. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, they're probably not. How many wins? I'll give you the over-under on DraftKings right now. The Detroit Lions. Now, I'm going over because I don't see them losing a game all year.
Oh yeah, from what
I'm
you've
watching
seen.
camp.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
All heart.
So
So
dumb.
6.5 games, 6.5. That's the win total. I'm gonna go over. Eddie.
under. This is exactly what Hard Knocks does. You're just like,
You're right, but
those
I'm in.
speeches, man, are like, wow, damn, this coach is like got me. I would do anything for this guy, and so I'm sure his players are thinking the same thing. This is what's that movie? Remember the Titans in real life happening right in front of us.
I don't know. Dude. Dan Campbell, like, I get it. He's like a different dude, and he has changed that culture up there a bit.
Did you see him do ups and downs with the with the players? Like no coach in history has ever done that. Like
Absolutely
it's
not.
crazy.
He still looks like he can play out.
Yeah, he does.
But they're gonna go under.
You go under.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I'll go over. Kevin?
I'm going to go over just because I hope they do.
Yeah.
Just for Detroit fans. I feel bad for them. It's been a long, miserable run. They saw Stafford win the Super Bowl last year. So come on, Lions. Dan Campbell, let's go.
Adam Hambrick?
Same. Shout out to my neighbor, Michigan Bob, who's made me have an appreciation for Michigan and the suffering that they've gone through in Detroit. Man, I'll go over. Give me 7 wins on Detroit. Let's go.
The Dallas Cowboys, the over-under is 10. I mean, I'm going under.
Why? Just to be a hater?
Yeah.
Figured, because you don't have a good reason to.
Yeah, under. Yeah, that's all. I'm done. Under. Yeah, I have nothing else. Under.
Way over. Way over.
Way okay.
Hey, I'll go way under.
Yeah.
Bunch of haters.
Adam?
Let's go over.
Yeah.
Come on.
So the two guys that love the Cowboys go over.
Well, of course. That's what we do every year.
Every year. Drink that Kool-Aid.
Patriots, 8.5. I'll go to you first. Kickoff Kevin. That's your team.
Way over.
Okay, way
Come on.
Yeah, I'll go over too. Yeah,
There we go.
I'll go over too.
Yeah.
They're going to struggle this year. I'm going to give me the under.
What do you mean? I mean, if they win 9 games, it's almost struggling for the Patriots.
Yeah, I get it. I think Bill Belichick is at the end of it. It's like, this is just too hard. I'm about to give
Famous
up.
last words, buddy.
Did you see that pic of Mac Jones' locker where he had that picture of himself from hanging his head from the playoff loss to the Bills? Yeah, give me Mac Jones with the comeback, man.
Have you seen Mac Jones without a shirt now?
Is he
Yeah,
ripped?
he's
It's like a different dude.
Really?
All right.
Yeah, when he won the national championship, they showed him without a shirt. He's kind of, portly guy.
Yeah.
Soft.
He's like that skinny fat kind of look to him.
Yeah.
He's like a
Dad
dude
bod.
now.
Yeah.
Like he's like learned how to be chiseled.
Yeah.
It's like he got a hold of me and I taught him.
Well, hey, well then let me change that to the over.
No,
then.
no,
Just because of the shirt.
Don't jump on the train now.
Arkansas over 7.5. Do they hit 8 or no, Eddie?
They hit 8. I mean, absolutely,
SEC West.
dude. I loved what they did
Their
last year.
non-conference schedule is BYU. It's Cincinnati, a top 25 team to start the season. Like our Reno win is Liberty, Hugh Freeze.
Dude, we took a tour of their actual offices. I'm telling you, what I saw there, I liked.
We got a bunch of free stuff, so Eddie's like, I'm in.
They had a $30 million facility, so they're getting the over.
Kickoff Kevin?
That's a tough one. I'm going to go with the under. I think it'll be close, but I'd say about 7 wins. So you said 7.5?
Yeah.
So I'll go under.
Adam?
My rose-colored fan glasses always tell me like 9 wins, but I always take a 1 game off of my rose-colored glasses, so I'm gonna go 8 and hit the over.
And you guys hit the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code BobbySports. Bet just $5 on college football and get $200 in free bets instantly. That's the code BobbySports, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. There you go. What does that mean? See show notes for details.
In the podcast description, you can see the notes.
Oh,
right
got
below,
it.
right below.
I thought
They're
that was like a note. I was like, and good evening, San Diego. When I read the wrong, I thought that was just for me. All right, so DraftKings, awesome. All right, here's what we're gonna do here. We'll go around the room. Which sports story do you genuinely care about the most right now that doesn't involve your favorite team? Kickoff Kevin.
I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, him calling out his young receivers a couple days ago. And I'm all about, of course, holding guys accountable, young guys especially, bringing them up. But to do it publicly, I just think is wrong for him to do that. Him to come in here and just call them out publicly. I mean, it's only going to make them, I feel like, be a little more nervous, play more nervous. You can do it privately in the locker room, whatever. So.
Maybe he has.
We don't know. We're
Maybe
not
he
in
has.
there.
Rodgers is an
Yeah.
odd dude.
But yeah, I think that's what it is more than anything. It's just Rodgers being another thing of Rodgers.
Do you
And
not
you're
like
dude,
Aaron Rodgers?
I do.
It didn't sound like you do. He can't
One
even
of
say
those,
I do.
like, it's one of those like the more he plays, the more I don't like him. I've always liked him, but like as his career continues, I'm just like, dude, you're just too much now.
I don't think I'd like to hang out with him. I don't think I want to be his friend. But I like that he does his own thing.
I do like that
straight
about
up.
him.
He
I agree.
he's got the they say walks to the beat of a different drum. That's like a beat not on time. It's just he's beating the side of the drum. He kicks the drum sometimes. So I like that about him. And he's also the best. I mean, except for Brady, probably the best quarterback in the past 15 years.
Yeah.
The most consistent, for
You know?
sure.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers. Adam.
One thing I'm really excited about, haven't watched it yet, but the new Manti Te'o doc that just
I had a
came
friend
out
said it was really good.
on
Watched it.
Netflix.
You watched it?
I watched it the other night.
Legit?
It's unbelievable.
So I always loved watching Manti Te'o because he was like a big Hawaiian jacked version of Rudy. Like he had that same heart, but he could actually go, and he was like just taking people's head off, but like absolutely the nicest guy, and like anybody that you talk to from Notre Dame, they would just like go to the wall for Manti Te'o. And then when that catfishing story came out, like he got just brutalized. And it was it was kind of funny because he was like the media darling.
Yeah, it was funny then.
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
funny then.
definitely funny. But
Because he was a guy who's about to be rich, and we were like,
Yeah.
we're not rich, so we want to laugh at you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really all it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
much.
People love to see him fall down, and then they got embarrassed in the national championship game, and
It's very
man,
sad.
it was pretty tough for that guy.
How good was it though as a show? Like, would my wife like it? Because she doesn't know
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah, and I didn't know. I mean, we don't know the ins and outs until you watch that and you realize like it's sad.
Yeah,
It's like on his end, and then even the person that catfished him, they're very remorseful towards him. So it's really good. She would like it.
I got catfish, so I'm like, I don't know who to root for. Like, I was catfished a couple times about the same time. So I was like, yeah, sucker. Eddie?
Well, we've talked about Deshaun Watson, but I love watching how the NFL deals with it and all that. And I think the buried headline here is that they gave him 11 days, 11
games, yeah.
11 games suspended. Well, who are they playing week 12? The Texans.
Oh,
and I've
my.
always thought, like, how are they coming up with 11 games? It's crazy. Guys, we've been fooled.
What's the Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold
Yeah,
question? It's
yeah.
like, if anything, if it's close, it's about TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I don't know, something I just thought of, and it's
Where
been
are they
interesting.
playing that game? Do you
I
know?
think in Houston,
I
I
think it's in
believe.
Houston.
Oh, man, they're going, oof. That's going to be ugly
Yeah.
for him
Yeah.
for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, the human reason of, we've been reading a lot of bad stuff about you. And two, you were here when you did it, and you left, and we hate you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's perfect. Primetime TV.
And the Browns are going to be the villains, and it sucks for them.
I know, it really
Yes.
does.
Imagine being his teammate.
Yes,
That'd be tough.
Who's ever hated the Browns?
exactly, because there's no reason to.
No reason to.
And now it's like we all hate the Browns. Golly. Okay, finally, mine is NCAA football. It won't be that anymore. Like they had meetings where the the presidents were like, we may not want to be under the NCAA anymore. And why that is significant is all sports are under the NCAA. But what happens is after the season is over, when they go into the bowl games or to the playoffs now, that's run by college football. The CFP or
yeah.
So they do some stuff out of the NCAA, but those are governed by different folks.
Interesting.
So now the presidents are going, yeah, we may want to get out of the NCAA. NCAA still exists, but they make most of their money from football, and who knows who gets to leave the NCAA and is it the SEC, Big 10, Big 12? Is it the big conferences, but then some of the lower Division I schools stay? You're just going to see a lot of changes the next few years. I'm here for it. I love change because if you hate change, you're just going to get even more mad because it's going to happen regardless.
Oh, yeah.
So that to me is really interesting to see what happens in college football. But I'm also college football is my favorite.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
Do you worry that it's going to make you like the game less?
No,
Like,
the
is
game
there-
will be played the same way.
Yeah.
The games of all my shirts. Listen, we're rooting for a piece of clothing.
Yeah.
I think it was George Carlin who was like talking about baseball teams. He's like, we root for laundry. These people aren't from where we are.
Yeah.
They're not. They're just our.
They don't care about the
Yeah,
city.
they're like
or the state.
they're wearing laundry that we root for our own laundry. And so for me, I just root for the team that identifies with the land that I grew up in. Yep. And I will. If they said, well, Arkansas is an NFL team now, I'd be like, well, that sucks. We're not very good compared to NFL teams. But I would still root for them because that's I identify with that. That's where I grew up. So no, I'm going to root for Arkansas regardless of what league they're in. I'll be passionate about it. The end. That's and money's not changing anything. They were just getting it in different ways.
Yeah.
Before.
I
I can't believe players are getting paid. Yeah, I have friends that are players that used to get really, really paid. You just never knew about it. And since it wasn't legal, some schools wouldn't do it, and those were the schools that were abiding by the rules but weren't good. Now you have schools that are abiding by the rules, and they're getting really good because this allows it to happen. And yes, it is unfair, but it's a capitalist world where this happens everywhere. It's not just college football.
Yeah. It's a business.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what happens with the NCAA. And then finally, I'll do this before we get to a little fantasy football talk here. Does anyone want to change their title teams? I know we picked it. There's really been no games. I'm going to change mine.
You are already?
Oh.
Yeah.
What
I'm gonna go. It's going to cost me $2. I just felt really guilty, so I'm going to Arkansas.
It's
only $2.
knew it.
It's been eating at you for a week, huh?
In the shower, I was ashamed of myself. And I was like, it was $1. Just pick Arkansas. And so I hate myself. And so I'm going to go ahead and double up and I'm going to move off Alabama to Arkansas. So I'll put $2 in the pot now.
Okay.
All right.
$2
And now
more.
you're out of Alabama.
Yeah.
I still have Alabama, and I think.
Yeah, roll tide, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so
here,
you two.
Kevin.
Yep. So there. And by the way, Madden Football 23 just came out.
Did you buy it already?
Yeah. I wish you guys played. We have a league.
Did you
It's
buy
awesome.
it for everyone?
I did. How'd you know that?
Somebody told me.
I bought it for everybody in my league.
It's just to make sure everyone plays with them.
Here's the thing.
Amazing.
Here's the thing. My league, bunch of hardworking friends of mine.
Oh yeah.
And
Blue
maybe-
collar workers.
And maybe they don't have $100 to go at a random Tuesday, and they already get in trouble for playing video games. So now they got to tell their wife they're spending money on something that they already are in trouble for doing too often. And, I do pretty good. So I bought everybody in the league their game. And I was like, you don't have to tell your wife. You just keep getting in trouble as you are.
It's
There's no
amazing.
reason to amplify it. And here we go. So
Good job, dude.
Thank you.
Friend of the year.
No, I just wanted to play. I didn't want them in trouble. Okay, Faraz Saddiqi, awesome. He's at Upperhand Fantasy. It is my favorite account to follow for fantasy football. Upperhand Fantasy, and it's fantasy football time, and we're talking about it here. So here we go. First of all, congratulations! I just saw you had 100,000 followers. It's awesome. That's a big deal in the fantasy world.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, it is. I'm pumped. You know what's funny, man? Like I've never celebrated these following counts, but like for 100K, I'm like, you know what? Like I just wanted to like make sure that everyone kind of, gets their flowers. You know what I mean? As far as like the whole community and all that, you know.
Well, it's a big deal because, especially if you're trying to be a legitimate guy, and like, first of all, yours is the best. Like, and I look and watch and follow and subscribe to certain different things, and I just found you on Instagram because I'm a big fantasy guy, and I went through and listened to you and watched your and I was like, man, Faraz is so good. And so congratulations. And one, I'm just super pumped to have you on because I feel like of all the guys that act like they know what they're talking about when no one actually does, because again, it's fantasy and predicting, like you know the most about something we actually don't know anything about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, exactly, right. And what I pride myself on is just being able to just take in new information, and sometimes it contradicts what I believed before, right? So just it's a continually moving thing throughout the offseason. So I appreciate that, though.
His Instagram is Upperhand Fantasy, but nobody on this show can follow him. Okay, if I see you guys following him, you're out of here. It's only for me. He's only mine. I'm very territorial now. So I have some questions for you. And a lot of them are general because here we are. We're getting close to draft season. I mean, if you draft now, that's probably too early, especially with these preseason games. You hate to have an injury before your season starts. So, but we're getting to that point where a lot of the draftings happened. And when I'm looking at the first round, and it looks to me mostly, and I want you to correct me or tell me I'm an idiot or agree, but the top 4 spots generally are the running backs. If it's Jonathan Taylor, and then it could go to McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Eckler, and then there's kind of a break, and it's like, do you go receiver? Do you go another running back? So just talk with me and give me the top 5. That's why I want to go 5. The top 5 running backs that you would take in the first round of the draft.
Believe it or not, I'm perfectly fine going Christian McCaffrey number 1 before Jonathan Taylor. Like, I totally understand Jonathan Taylor was a number 1 running back last year, but if you look at all the previous, overall number 1 running backs, they did a lot better than Jonathan Taylor. So obviously, because he finished first, a lot of people want to put him first this year, but I am chasing that upside, with Christian McCaffrey and what he showed. But yeah, so I got him. I got JT number 2. I got Dalvin Cook number 3. He has his own little, injury risk as well, but Austin Eckler and Derrick Henry round out those top 5.
So you got 2 guys that it's all a risk, but you got 2 guys that are again coming off injury issues. McCaffrey, last year you drafted him number 1, if you did, and most people did last year, and he was out most of the season. And then again, Dalvin Cook, where he catches the ball a lot. So if you're in a PPR league or a half-point PPR, those are points there as well. But again, both of those guys coming off injuries, and you are saying that you would still take them in the top 3 picks.
I don't know if I'll take him in the top 3 picks, but in terms of my top 5 running backs, like you know what I mean? Because and just to say, like, I do like these top 3 wide receivers this year. These top 3 wide receivers have ridiculous amount of upside, right? And I'll say this, between Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey, I honestly think that Dalvin Cook is more of an injury risk than Christian McCaffrey with that shoulder.
So then let's do this then. Give me your top 5 picks. Anyway, we have to roll through the whole thing, but I could be a little confused. I thought because I would go, if it's me, I'm an idiot. I'm going running back, first 2 rounds. I'm an idiot, and I'm scared of wide receivers because I just don't know if they're going to get the ball. And so many times, like I just need 3 catches, and I don't even get that. Where I know some running backs are going to get some carries. But talk to me about what you would do. Let's do first 6 picks overall.
Yeah. So I have Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Cooper Kupp. So I actually have 3 running backs there, and I have the top 3 wide receivers in there as well.
So I guess that answers the question about the wide receivers. So you have Jefferson at number 1, is that right, in your wide receiver pool?
Yes, sir. Justin Jefferson, followed by Jamar Chase, followed by Cooper Kupp. And I know a lot of people are going to be surprised about Cooper Kupp being number 3 after the monster season that he just had last year. But there is reason to believe that Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are the ones that go absolutely nuclear this year. And Cooper Kupp might get, I mean, listen, his season was a bit of an outlier. It was an amazing fantasy season. I think it was the top points ever for a wide receiver for fantasy purposes. But I do think that, he comes a little bit down. Still at number 3,
you
so he's
feel
still going to have an amazing season.
Justin Jefferson with the new head coach and a new offense, that's probably going to help him. Am I hearing that in what you're saying?
100%. Kevin O'Connell coming in from the Rams, that system. And Jefferson just tweeted today. He said, I understand why Cooper Kupp was so open last year. And he credits the system, right? And we're going to see Justin Jefferson in the slot a whole lot this year, a lot more than we saw last year. And he's going to be going up against linebackers and safeties. So, it's wheels up for him.
What about players that aren't being appreciated and you look and go, why is their ADP so low?
Okay, so there's a few guys, and these guys, are for me personally, like I don't want to leave my draft without a lot of these guys, right? Number one, I'm talking about Breece Hall in the 4th round. He's a rookie running back who could potentially have, a 3-down role. I understand bad offense, but he's going to potentially catch a lot of balls. Cortland Sutton in the 5th round, Allen Robinson in the 6th round, Michael Thomas in the 6th round. One of my favorites this is like probably my number one guy who I'm not leaving any draft without is Elijah Moore. He's going in the 8th round right now. You have Rashad Bateman going in the 7th round, Brandon Ayuk going in the 9th round. And these guys all have a common theme, right? And that's that their upside is league winning. Their upside is top 12, top 15 at their position. And those are the guys for me who are worth chasing. I'm not somebody who likes to chase those safe floors. I'm looking for potential league winners in every round, because if you hit more often than not, you probably have a league winning team.
A couple people you brought up there, Ayuk in San Francisco, Trey Lance coming in a quarterback there. They obviously see something between those two, and Ayuk had a pretty good end of the season last year, at least the second half of the season. I mean, is he the guy? I mean, is he the guy with Trey Lance?
It very well could be, and that's all the reports that are coming out of training camp, that not only do they have a serious rapport going on with each other, but on top of that, Ayuk seems to have taken another step forward going into his 3rd year. If you look at the second half of last season, it's hard to believe, but Brandon Ayuk actually out-targeted Deebo Samuel, in that second half once he was out of the doghouse and became a full-time player. And playing almost every snap. So going into this season, Brandon Ayuk was already a great prospect. He had an amazing rookie year. So the signs were all there for him to potentially break out in a big way at some point. And it seems to me like his skill set combined with Trey Lance attacking down the field, I think that could be a match made in heaven.
It seems like Garoppolo didn't like to throw down the field as much. And maybe that was a bit of why Deebo got the ball in so many situations. They just wanted to get Deebo the ball if it was in the backfield or if he was catching the ball. But Trey Lance is a different type of thrower. Any chance you would even draft at all a Trey Lance? Would you leave him on the waiver wire and maybe pick him up later?
No, I mean, he's going in the 9th round right now. And I think, because of his rushing ability, because of the fact that he's tied to Kyle Shanahan, because of the fact that he has guys like Kittle, Deebo, Ayuk, right? And these guys have an amazing rapport. So I would not be surprised if he ends the year as a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Even if he doesn't make the strides we'd like him to make in the pass game, the rushing production for a quarterback is just that important. If you play in a standard league with 4, if you play in a league with 4-point passing touchdowns, if a rushing quarterback goes for 800 rushing yards, that's an extra 25 passing touchdowns to add to that total. So that's how important it is.
Talk about Michael Thomas for a second, because you brought him up. I think a lot of people are curious as to how he's going to perform this season. What are you seeing? What are you feeling?
Well, obviously there's risk, baked into his price right now going in the 6th round. I have a feeling that's going to move up even further given all the camp reports. We know what his upside is. Every single year since his rookie year, he broke out and he's improved every single year for 4 straight years. And now you're getting a guy who could potentially be a top 12 wide receiver going in the potentially 6th round right now, but if you're drafting in a couple weeks, most likely 5th round. Like I said, I'm a guy who's shooting for upside. He looks great in camp right now. He could potentially be that number 1 wide receiver. Remember, he did his thing with Drew Brees, towards the end of Drew Brees' career when he wasn't throwing down the field that much. Now with Jameis Winston, yes, he could potentially throw a lot of interceptions, but he's a guy who can produce fantasy wide receivers. We've seen it before, potentially unlocking Michael Thomas' route tree, intermediate, deep, getting those high value throws, and maybe not just slants, all game long.
This will be the last thing I ask you about the wide receivers here, but with Devontae Adams now playing for the Raiders and Hunter Renfrow basically being that number 2 guy, but I would assume there's still some good value in Hunter Renfrow because he's falling a bit and he's still going to get some looks. That's my assumption, but I'm not the expert here. How do you feel about that situation with Devontae and Renfrow?
I think that's a great call, because he did his thing last year, and I think when you produce, regardless of whether who's around you, when you produce, not all wide receivers can say that, right? Like I totally understand the point where, when people try to say that, well, he only produced because he was the only guy there. However, that happens to a lot of wide receivers and they don't end up producing. So I can totally see him being, now I don't have him ranked too high because I do think Devonta Adams is going to get the lion's share of the targets. However, we've seen Josh McDaniel's system, produce a ton of slot wide receivers, right? Whether it was Danny Amendola, whether it was Wes Welker, whether it was Julian Edelman, we've seen that, throughout his entire career. So I can totally see him outplaying his ADP in a big way. But yeah, he still has to compete with Darren Waller as well. So this is a situation where the targets can be spread out a little bit. That's why I have a little bit of reservation for Hunter Renfrow. But at the same time, we know that he's talented and he could potentially produce in this system.
Give me 3 players that you feel are a little overvalued for whatever reason, and they're probably being drafted a little too high.
Number 1, I have Nick Chubb. I understand he's one of the best running backs in the league for sure, but he's going off the board in the middle of the second round. He's not involved in the pass game at all. He still has Kareem Hunt there. Yes, there is a possibility that Kareem Hunt ends up getting moved where, Nick Chubb would definitely move up for sure. But not involved in the pass game. His ceiling is a little bit capped because of the fact that Kareem Hunt is there, because of the fact that he likely won't be seeing 20 plus carries a whole lot. Antonio Gibson in the 4th round, even early 5th round. He has Brian Robinson there, potentially, stealing carries on early downs, potentially being the main goal line guy. Gibson had that role last year. He might not have that role this year. Then you have J.D. McKissick playing on passing downs and being the primary pass catcher there. So it seems to me that Antonio Gibson might not get a whole lot of high value touches this year, unless we see an injury to one of those running backs. J.K. Dobbins, another guy around that same price tag, early 4th round, early 5th round. J.K. Dobbins coming off the ACL injury. I know that he's potentially going to be ready for week 1, but coming off the ACL injury, we don't know who the primary goal line back is going to be between him and Gus Edwards, because we've seen them rotate that role in his rookie year. In his rookie year, he played so well. He's a very, very talented back. However, he didn't see more than 15 carries that entire season, even with injuries in that backfield. So I feel like there's a few red flags with J.K. Dobbins, not involved in the passing game at all. These are the type of guys that I like to avoid, especially when they're going in the range of some really, really good high upside wide receivers.
Drafting, it's always sexy to pick a rookie that you're like, oh man, they're going to crush. But more times than not, I've been disappointed with rookie production. I think the one rookie I drafted that ended up being really good for me was Najee. Other than that, it's always been hit or miss, or mostly just miss. Now we look at the rookies coming in this year: Spiller in Buffalo, Treylon Burks in Tennessee. You could go Pickens. Like, what rookies do you think are worth drafting mid to late round because you think they will actually have production?
Yeah, I think Breece Hall in the 4th round, that's a solid pick just because, he's one of those guys who could potentially have an every down role. I know Michael Carter's there, but Breece Hall is somebody that is a potentially special player. And these type of players usually don't go in the 4th round. And I like to target these young, running backs who have elite profiles when it comes to athleticism. Drake London, I know Mariota's there right now, but it's basically him and Kyle Pitts, and the target distribution is going to be super tightly distributed between those two guys. So I think Drake London, and he's showing out in camp as well. Treylon Burks, he's going to have that opportunity, basically laid out on a silver platter for him. It's up to him to take advantage. But where he's going in drafts, I'm okay, given the upside that he presents. Sky Moore is somebody who's very interesting in Kansas City. Juju Smith profiles as that number 1 wide receiver behind Travis Kelce. But Sky Moore is somebody who could potentially go in much later than Juju, have a similar production to Juju this year when it's all said and done. It's looking like him and Patrick Mahomes are potentially having some real rapport. Just a couple of guys just to knock out real quick. James Cook, if you're in a full PPR league, he could potentially do big things for you. And Jahan Dotson is a sneaky one in Washington. It's hard to kind of look at Carson Wentz as somebody who could produce, a couple fantasy wide receivers there. But he's looking like he's having a really good camp. 1st round pick. But a lot of people sleeping on him.
I think I said Spiller. I don't know where I said Spiller was going. I got all these teams in my head. But he's he's with Chargers, right? Did he get picked by the Chargers?
Yeah,
exactly.
He's going to probably be number 2 behind Eckler. That's right.
So, okay, well, the rookies, The one you would take in the first 4 rounds, though, Breece Hall. Other than that,
Yes.
you're waiting.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And there's no rookies really worth taking until 8th, 9th, 10th round.
All right, we'll do a quick little ending here. I'll give you the player and just give me say thumbs up or thumbs down based on where they're projected to go in most of the projections. Like a Najee Harris, good pick for where he's projected or no?
I have a thumbs down on him. He had a ridiculous amount of work last year, and he finished as like the RB8 in points per game. That's not going to happen this year. I think his upside is capped a little bit for where he's going.
Swift in Detroit.
Oh, big thumbs up. I think he could potentially be a top 3 running back this year.
Jones in Green Bay.
I was higher on him earlier, but he is going to take a lot of those touches away, those catches away from, since Devontae Adams left, he's going to assume a lot of that, potentially leading this team in targets. Solid 2nd round pick, but I like guys like Saquon and Fournette over him.
Okay, I was going to say those are the 2 I was going next. Saquon, obviously, who was injured a lot of last year, but how you feel about him?
Top 3 upside. He looks great in camp. I think he has the potential to see 80 to 100 catches this year, and just that alone, on top of potentially 250 rushing attempts. Yeah, even on a bad offense, he's a guy you want to target.
Fournette's interesting because he came in extremely heavy. I think that's been talked about a lot. Do you expect him to play at the weight he played last year, and do you think he'll perform even close to kind of the unexpected production he had last year?
Yeah, I think he's already at the weight that he was at last year. So I think he's all set. I think that those reports early on in the offseason, it was kind of like it was short-lived. It seems like he's looking good. He's back to his weight. I know they drafted Rachaad White there. However, I think Tom Brady's going to pepper Fournette on early downs. It's a good offense, and he's going to have that goal line role. So I'm perfectly happy taking him at the end of the 2nd round.
I'm going to say to everybody listening, this is the guy. It's my favorite guy. I didn't know him. I literally was just on the For You page, and I always check out fantasy folks, and I spent some time looking at Upperhand Fantasy, and I was like, okay, I'm going to follow. I don't even follow that many people, but to me, he is the best, and I'm super pumped that you came on. Congratulations on your success, and we will check back in a few weeks and keep killing it, and I'll be following.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
All right, good to talk to you. All right, Faraz, Saddiqi, awesome. Fantasy football, I'm ready. It's almost draft time for me. Join the next generation of fantasy football with Rainmakers Football. Rainmakers is the first ever NFT fantasy game from DraftKings and is the only NFT fantasy game licensed by the NFLPA. You can play all season for millions of prizes by building the ultimate NFT franchise. I can see Eddie, who likes to do this stuff. I can see it. I can see you guys going in. You don't even know about it, and I can see you over there getting excited about it.
I love it.
You're going to text Steve right now and be like, dude, we got to do this.
Come on.
Okay. You can. I know, and your wife's going to kill me for bringing it. Right now, everybody can get their first full roster starter pack for free. Playing Rainmakers is super easy. You just buy, sell, bid, and win player card NFTs to some of the biggest names in the game through regular drops and auctions on DraftKings Marketplace. You can craft lineups of athletes for your NFT collection, earn points for touchdowns, receptions, and more, just like daily fantasy football. So you're basically, Eddie, you're getting the NFTs and how good they do.
You know how much I love NFTs.
I know. You love
Dude,
it.
You know it.
Basketball. This guy's...
You're all about it?
Dude, they were for hours.
Really?
Oh,
Basketball,
yeah.
they were for... That's why when I read this, I was like, Eddie's about to... Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now. Sign up with the promo code BobbySports. Click the Rainmakers tile and opt in to get your first card free. Promo code BobbySports. Build, play, win. Only at DraftKings. Contest entries dependent on type and number of NFTs held. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void or prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details. All right, boys and girls, let's do this. Your final sports opinion of the week. And I'm going to go to our Whistling Dixie. You didn't whistle, Dixie, but you did whistle, and I couldn't think of anything else to go with whistle. But Kevin, you're up first.
Okay, I didn't know who we were going
Yeah.
here. The final sports opinion of the week. I am upset, but also jealous at the same time of the Steelers organization because they continue to find wide receivers that are just slept on and passed on, and they found another one in George Pickens. We all knew he was good at Georgia, but he had some injury concerns, and he was hurt last year. And what do? They pick him up in the 2nd round, and I know it's only been one preseason game, but he already looks like a stud, looks like a dude. And as a Patriots fan, we don't know how to draft any wide receivers. So just one time, Bill, just draft a good receiver.
But correct. Pickens looked awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to make Kenny Pickett really good.
Yeah.
Pretty good, but really good considering. Do you think Kenny Pickett's going to start?
Maybe not week 1, but I think by week 6.
Same. I think he's going to make Kenny Pickett good.
Yeah.
Like for the next 3 or 4 years, he's going to make Kenny Pickett a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's preseason game 1.
I know.
I know.
I try not to buy the
I know.
hype.
Yeah,
but-
we all do
It's
though.
I know, and I don't. Yes,
but this is what the Steelers do. They take these wide
You're right.
receivers, develop them. Deontay Johnson.
look at the Patriots. So they make defensive players. They make linebackers out of.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I guess everybody has their own little niche.
Yeah, I like it though. Eddie, what you got?
Yeah, so I've been watching a lot of training camp footage, coverage, and all that stuff. And I just think from the cool fights that there have been, every time like a team comes in and, we're going to do a little scrimmage, there's a huge fight.
When they
helmet
practice
sling-
together and then
Yes,
scrimmage, yeah.
every single time. So instead of preseason games, I would like to televise training camps. Like those scrimmages that they have with announcers and everything, let's go, because those are fun to watch. Those fights are amazing. I'd rather watch that than dumb preseason week 1 and 2.
So you want to televise preseason scrimmages
With
now?
cool fights.
With their little pads on their helmets.
cool fights.
I don't think that you're wrong because at one point someone said, "I want to televise the combine," and idiots went, well, "That's stupid. Who's going to watch people run?"
Yeah.
And I love it.
And we love it.
I love it. I don't watch all of it, but I definitely, if I don't watch it, I go check and see. So if there's a way to make money.
Even like, a stream of training camp would be cool. Cause like I was watching the Chiefs too, and I saw Mahomes just half-assing exercises, like not even touching his toes, not even going past his knees. And I'm like, this is good stuff.
And the people to work out harder. They practice better.
Yeah.
All right. Adam Hambrick.
Titans fans, I've heard a lot of grumbling about Ryan Tannehill, especially after he folded up against the Bengals like a cheap lawn chair. But something kind of like I heard some stats this week that kind of changed my thoughts on how he performed last year. They were talking about how much down and distance he had to go on third down because the Titans ran the ball on first and second down more than any other team in the NFL, which you're not shocked about that because they have, King Henry. But on third down, Tannehill had so much down and distance to go, and everybody on the field knew that he was throwing the ball on third down all year long last year. And they still won all those games. They still made the AFC Championship. He showed up in some big spots last year, especially when Taylor Lewan was coming off surgery. They were chipping with running backs, chipping with tight ends, so he was down a man, and everybody on the field knew every time he was throwing the ball. So I'm really interested to see what they got this year with a healthier offensive line. Derrick Henry back full speed. I'm not out on Ryan Tannehill. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's going to have a good year.
And finally, I'll go. I think the Live Tour is good for golf, and here's why.
Come on.
I do
Now
think
you're
it's-
talking.
I do think it's good for golf.
Yeah, come on. Let's go. I want to hear this.
So, first of all, the Saudis don't care about golf. They literally don't.
They don't play over there? They don't watch the Masters?
Well, listen, I don't know what they do over there.
They're not buying their
But
dollar beers?
Yes, but I don't know what they're doing. But it's like the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund that is funding this, and they do things in order to allow a better view of their country. And they've decided to get into sports to do this. They have unlimited money. And so that's how they're able to, that's why they're, 150 at Dustin Johnson, 250 at Phil.
Yeah.
So, and it is right now, it's novel to see them doing. But what's happening is the PGA is having to go, we have competition, we have to get better. And you're seeing it a little bit, and they don't want to admit it, but they're going, well, next year our purses are going to be bigger. Well, they're seeing the Live Tour, which, by the way, by them making it better, I'm not saying the Live Tour is awesome because I think that is some bad money right there. The PGA's got some stuff to work on too. Every business does. That's real bad money there. That's like 9/11 money there. That same money funded what that is. So, but what's happening is if we're just looking at golf, they're going to make the PGA have to learn to be more competitive and more compelling as an organization. I don't think the Live Tour is going to be around forever either. I think it's a novel thing. It'll be around for a few years. It's gone. We'll remember it. We'll remember a few. Phil Mickelson will always be associated with going to the Live Tour.
Yeah.
But I think just for golf, I think it's good for golf because you get better because of competition and somebody pushing you.
Now, are they going to try to make money from this, or are they just cool
No,
giving these guys a lot of money?
Their money is like the currency they're making is a better look for Saudi Arabia.
They're going to need more than
Like
just
that's what they
doing
want.
golf.
Yeah, they don't care.
Way more than golf.
Yeah, that's not. They have billions and billions and billions of
Okay.
dollars to
Money
throw at
isn't
this.
a thing, yeah.
Yeah, so yes, they're not making dollars, but what they want, they're getting, which is maybe people go, no, Saudi Arabia's not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the goal of this. They do other things too, but this is how they're doing it in sports.
What sucks for us is we don't get to watch like Phil and a lot of the. I mean, I don't know. There aren't like huge names, but if you are a Dustin Johnson fan, you don't get to see him unless you go to YouTube and watch live. I don't know anyone watching.
Unless I
this
was
stuff.
watching a major anyway.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing any Dustin Johnson anyway.
Oh, I was, man.
Yeah, but
I'm
you're
putting-
gambling
putting-
on that.
putting
crap.
$1 on Dustin
Yeah,
Johnson.
I know. So I guess if you're on DraftKings Sportsbook at 2 a.m. trying to get your fix for the next day as they're, playing in Omaha.
Yeah.
And then the Stake Open. But I think for golf only, I think the Live Tour is great for golf because it's making the PGA have to address some things that they didn't have to address because they had no competition. And so the PGA will now get better. Listen, Tiger flew. I think him and Rory flew in. Tiger got in his own car, drove over to this meeting, and was like, F them. Like, they had the big meeting like 2 days ago. And you see Tiger land getting his, what's his brand?
It was a Nissan.
He has
it was it's whatever you wrecked in, right?
But that's his
Genesis?
endorsement.
Genesis.
What is his company? It's a weird. You'd think Tiger would get in like a Porsche or something.
It used to be Buick. It's not.
I think it's Buick. I
Yeah,
think
is
it's
it Buick? Okay.
Whatever it is, he gets in like a mom car, and you're like, he's getting paid so much for that
It's a
mom
sedan.
car.
It's a soccer mom car.
It was like a silver SUV soccer mom car.
It's a Buick.
Is it Buick? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I hate the Live Tour, and I hope it burns. And I do think it's making golf better because the PGA is having to correct some things they would have never had to correct otherwise. All right, that'll do it, folks. Mike, if you want to hit the music there, let me thank DraftKings, our great, wonderful sponsor. And Eddie's going to go check out Rainmakers Football for sure.
I'm already on it.
And DraftKings Sportsbook, and we just encourage you to please use that promo code because it helps this show. It funds this show. You know how Saudi Arabia gets the Live Tour?
How?
DraftKings funds this.
Bobby Sports.
Bobby Sports is the promo code. So thank you guys. We will see you next time. Thanks to our guests, Faraz Saddiqi, excellent fantasy football guy. Follow him, Upperhand Fantasy, obviously, and Dan Orlovsky, who's awesome. We got really cool guests coming up. Do I want to say, Mike, who we have coming up or no?
No, you don't have to.
Okay. But let me just say one thing. His name rhymes with Rontana.
What, are you serious?
No, I'm not at all.
Oh,
I'm not at all.
dude.
I'm not at all. Maybe though.
That would be amazing.
That'd be the dream guest.
Oh
So
my
that's
gosh.
the dream
Said you're a
get
Niners
before
fan.
the season's
No,
over.
I'm
for
not a
Eddie.
Niners
I
fan.
thought you were Niners.
He was.
Yeah,
as a kid.
yeah.
He loved Joe Montana. That's why I said that.
Exactly.
So if we get him, we'll try to get him for you.
That'd be cool, dude.
All right. We will see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Wait, we
We're
didn't
blowing
blow
the
a
whistle?
whistle.
Oh, hold on. We're still on. You still rolling?
Hey,
Mike,
forgot
you
the
still-
whistle.
Yeah. Are we still rolling?
We're still
Sorry.
rolling.
Second episode, man.
We got
Second
24
episode.
left.
I got to pick somebody who won. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the 24th episode. The person who's blowing the whistle today.
Man. Who would
The
that?
MVP.
Ooh.
Yeah. MVP of the show.
Hey, Kevin can't blow it every.
Why not?
Wait, no. I mean,
Yeah.
every week he's gonna blow 25 whistles.
He could.
He's good.
He may
That's
have
a lot for one man.
He may be the whistle leader. Right now he is with one win.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm going to say today's whistler will be Eddie.
What?
Eddie.
Hey,
Eddie,
dude,
you
hold
guess
on.
so.
I'm running cameras. I wasn't even ready.
All right. Take
Let's
us out of here,
go.
Eddie. All right. See you guys next week.
Yeah.